center for us in working towards Bureau of Indian Standards subsystem standardization. Along with him, we have Lieutenant Commander PVJ Harsha, and he represents. Again, he is also part of our Bureau of Indian Standards a subsystem study group on cyber security aspects of the unmanned aircraft systems. We have Madam Anima Agarwal. She is founder of Wave Kits, and also she is mentored at Indian Institute of Management for her entrepreneurism, and she's also a guide for robotics operating system and conducts a lot of innovative projects. During the COVID, she made some innovative things which got her attention of the world by making make your own mask. And we have Vamsi Krishna, who represented SRM University in making of hovercraft which can carry certain logistics payload of around 30 kilometers to 60 kgs weight. And he's also part of our Bureau of Indian Standards subsystem standardization. He has been active mobilizing the thought process and also contributing to coordinating. So this is interesting, and we will also have Colonel Ravi joining us very soon. And this being an auspicious evening, I believe one of the parents of a child who can play the invocation song to the Lord Ganesha or Goddess Saraswati to get going of our panel today. If that speaker is available, please can you enable the child to perform? There should be. Anil, are you there?
The person you have called is speaking to.
Is Nikki Kumar Jha there? Can you have Onuganti as the speaker? Anil is there. Anil is there. He will make the speaker. Let Onuganti be one of the speakers.
I think he just exited. He's connected to laptop.
Okay.
1 minute. I think he's coming now.
Sure. Onuganti is the father of the child who is now.
No, rejoin it again. Disconnected and rejoin it.
will rejoin from the desktop it will be only join
whatever, you just join from the
join from okay. Okay.
you logged in.
Yes.
So, namaste everyone. So, welcome to this August gathering. So, we'll start this session formally with Ganesh song, Lord Ganesh song. So, here we go.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुपुरस्तायिने गुरुविक्रमाय तुल्यप्रवराय गुरवे गुणगुरवे गुरुदैत्यकलक्षेत्रे गुरुदैवसखाराध्याय गुरुपुत्रपरित्रात्रे गुरुपाखण्डखण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय गन्धमत्ताय गोजयपदाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि.
So, namaste everyone once again. So, with this beautiful Ganesh Vandana, we'll start our formal session. Now it's up to Kishore sir. You take it from. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Dr. Omkar sir will address the team. Dr. Omkar is professor of IISc Aeronautical Engineering and also mentor for India's Bureau of Indian Standards at the subsystem standardization of the unmanned aircraft systems. And he is also known in the industry as the drone Acharya. It's our pleasure to invite you, sir, to first give your thoughts on unmanned any systems, unmanned autonomous systems.
Yeah.
Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Flight Lieutenant Kishore. First of all, very happy Sankranti to all. Sankranti indicates change for better. Well, in the light of the COVID that we had, I think change for the better is very relevant. So this Sankranti is very auspicious for us. And well, in the drone sector, yes, this is all the more special because given the conditions right now, India is not too far behind the other countries. And it's very important that these kind of meetings should take shape more frequently so that we encourage a lot of youngsters to get into it. And I think towards this, Flight Lieutenant Kishore is making immense effort. So I congratulate you for all the efforts that you are putting in. So this, well, first it used to be remotely piloted systems, things like that. Then came the unmanned aerial vehicles. Well, just to not to involve any sort of gender bias, some people also named it as uninhabited aerial vehicles. And it started with the things that move in the air, but we also see a lot of because in the in the field of robotics also a lot of people are getting into these drones. So this has led to some sort of a integration between the ground and the aerial vehicles. There are a lot of commonalities in terms of the technology, algorithms, and the understanding of one can make the other better. And eventually, yes, so not to leave the water, people also are looking at how you can make it to move in not only on the surface of the water but deep into the water also. So these technologies are fast converging, and therefore this uninhabited any system could be a very apt in this direction. But however, now the drones which move in the air, this has gained immense significance. The regulations are also taking place, and we are also working on the standardization part, and hopefully in the maybe a year or two to come, the country will have a very sound standardization policy and regulations in place, and I am sure the numbers of the drones will increase, and there is work for many people, challenges for all sectors um, of engineering, how to plan all these things, and the applications are becoming uh, plenty. You can take it in the field of medicine to agriculture, farmers, how to enable them. Uh, so this also has spurred interest in various other field of computation. In the sense, using drones, flying them is one part, and well, what do you do with flying them? What do you do with the data? So in driving the drone also there is a lot of computation involved. First of all, we should remember, because flying one drone, two drone is one thing, but when you have thousands of drones going uh, around, then you need to have this traffic management, and the moment you say traffic management, you need very reliable hardware and software. The drones have to talk to themselves, so that things like collision avoidance, obstacle avoidance can all be built in, and a lot of cooperative control mechanisms should be built in, both in terms of the algorithms and the hardware. And also you should make it safe, in the sense it should not really uh, create problem to anyone because of crash or whatever it is. So it should be safe and reliable. So there is opportunity for everyone in this sector. Number two is the data that you acquire, be from the some of the sensors like cameras or optical cameras or hyperspectral cameras, multispectral cameras, some laser devices, or tomorrow you may have a lot of atmospheric measuring sensors, whatever. So all in all, uh, there also a lot of computing is involved. Therefore, today it is very apparent to look at a broad title for this called drone computing. So drone computing is use of this computing abilities both for drone driving and drone data deciphering. I think both the areas our country should look at. It's not just flying the drones that is important, that has its own challenges, no doubt, but how do we analyze, assimilate the data, and make it useful to the end user in a very easy way. So towards this, we need to really have some sort of um, cloud-based opportunities, because we don't want everyone to develop algorithms. If you have a centralized system, we have been discussing, we have a panel on agriculture. In fact, it is mainly the drive from Kishore and our Anima. We have made a special panel where we are trying to actually address this issue so that in the days to come we can have one cloud-based solution where any drone user or flyer can simply take the image of any particular field and upload to this centralized cloud, which will analyze and disseminate the data to the end user, maybe on his mobile platform. And all this should happen very quickly, which I am sure the computing platforms today are very powerful. It's a question that we need to really pitch in, and especially for farmers when we take, because that's one of the big emphasis. These kind of clouds should be made available to them at a very economical cost, so that the usages can be done. And today we have the algorithms based on the machine learning and deep learning. The beauty of these algorithms is that they improve with experience. The more data we collect, the better will be their performance. So considering all these things, I think I'm just mentioning about agriculture sector. It could be extended to various other sectors in which we do packet delivery, etc., where you need to take some collective decisions based on various aspects. I think there is a tremendous scope. Most of us should work towards it. What is important here is defining a structure, like the Linux operating system, for example. It's open source and several people have contributed, and it's ever expanding. So what they have done is they have set one framework to which anyone can append and make it better. So that is where some expertise is needed. We should set up such a platform, such a procedural aspect, so that anybody can really upgrade it and it can expand and the data can be used by one and all. Because today you take any of the aspects, availability of data is very crucial, especially for the algorithms which are based on machine learning and deep learning. So these things we should make it available to one and all, so that our youth can actively participate right from their college days. Especially we have a large engineering strength, and many of these things are not happening because lack of availability of a proper structure and the data. If we make them available, I am sure we have a great strength, and in very short time we can have a wonderful working platform which will help our country. So we should look at this aspect of drone computing. And very important, well, our country has more challenges compared to the West, where the operations are not too difficult. There are various reasons. Our country's population density, the structure, the number of villages, these are some of the issues which we have to find an indigenous solution. We cannot simply copy what is happening outside, and it is also not necessary. And lastly, yes, there are a lot of things we are importing today. Right from the BLDC, the brushless DC motors, to the propellers, to electronic speed controllers, the controllers, etc. Battery, of course, we are importing. And frames, yes, we are now confident in making any type of frame, be it composite or whatever. We are quite thorough in that. But now we should slowly expand to the other things, and our import should really be reducing, so that we will make everything cost effective. This is also another area where youth can participate, and I'm sure we can all step in and try to alert the government on these issues. And thankfully, yes, we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, where such initiatives will be gladly supported by the government as well. So we need to take up prudent steps towards this, and I'm sure my other co-panelists will shed more light on some of these aspects. So I thank you, Flight Lieutenant Kishore, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Omkar. And as you rightly said, Make in India initiative and being very vocal for local products, and Atmanirbhar Bharat is the mantra of our beloved Prime Minister too. And so may I now, I heard the invocation song, Child, the parent is ready, but we will just hear her towards the end. We'll have Lieutenant Commander PVJ Harsha. I will just spend a few minutes introducing you to him. I'm introducing him to you. Yes, so he's engineering manager with Robert Bosch Engineering Institute in Bangalore, and he's from Indian Navy, and he brings with him the aspects like in-depth knowledge of reliability and risk assessment and cybersecurity domains. And being a soldier, he also shares the patriotic feelings and the same voice that Dr. Omkar mentioned about taking India to the next level in terms of being self-reliant. So I'm very happy to invite Lieutenant Commander PVJ Harsha to uh, enlighten us with his views.
Uh, Thank you, Flight Lieutenant Kishore sir. Thank you for this kind introduction, and very good evening to the August gathering here. In fact, I have been part of the BAS. We're talking about standards and delivering cybersecurity for various IoT and embedded systems. So when I look at drones, I look at it as an embedded system, and as a policy, we need to have cybersecurity at the top of our minds whenever we think about computing devices as a whole. So if we look back at the history of the computing devices, what we see is that security was not at their mind, and it was not in the mind while they designed the computing devices and the networking devices and the protocols as such. But as we see nowadays, and over a period of time, these particular things have been exploited over and over again, and nations are paying a price as we speak for not having taken note of it at an earlier stage. And we are also seeing one more important thing is that this ability of to carry out cyber attacks, or the uh, the deficiency of having a cyber policy, has resulted in some asymmetry in the kind of powers that nations have as we speak. So nations which not having great military power are now huge cyber powers, which are able to actually inflict damages on superpowers. So that kind of an asymmetry is clearly seen just because the powers be at the time when these technologies were developing have not taken care of security, or have not thought about security in terms of strategic domains. So now that has resulted in most of the businesses suffering as we speak, most of them being vulnerable, and most of them have to spend so much amount of money to secure themselves, whilst it could have been as part of the design. Now, having with this information at the back of our minds, when we talk about unmanned any systems, and unmanned any systems coming into fore, and largely in many parts of our life, we need to think critically about cybersecurity when we are allowing them so near to us, and allowing them to take a lot of decisions for us, and making them an integral part of our life. Because the more we do it, presently we may not actually look at it in terms of security, and we may look in terms of infrastructure development and other things. But as we go ahead, the same infrastructure would be utilized by adversaries to inflict damages to us. So it's very important for us to secure it, not only in the terms of economy, but also in terms of strategic advantages, and it also ensure that the national wealth is safeguarded. So we might there is an opinion which keeps floating around where people think that most of the property is private. That is true, but at the end of the day, safeguarding that private property is again the government's responsibility, and we need to aid the government to aid us. So when we think on those lines, it is very important for us to maintain the cybersecurity in any of the systems that we see. So, having said that, to bringing back the focus into the embedded systems, what I generally feel is that when we look at embedded systems, it's no different from a computing device, a general purpose computer. But when we talk about a general purpose computer, we see a host of other options where these general purpose computers can be attacked. So when we talk about embedded systems, probably that becomes limited, and what an attacker can do also becomes limited. So please allow me to share my experience in securing embedded devices. So generally, when we think about securing embedded devices, we think about looking at the devices in terms of various abstract layers that are present on the device. So we generally go about securing each layer at a time. So when you are developing an unmanned system, or when you're probably buying an unmanned system, you might actually want to take a look at the security in that way. Like when we talk about a hardware layer, we talk about how the security has been put in place at the hardware layer, where somebody cannot probably tap into the communication lines. Or when we're talking about security at the operating system layer, we might think about how it can be hardened and make it difficult for an attacker to actually exploit it. So every particular layer as of today has some or other security feature into it, or if the security feature is not there, probably we might actually take up the risk at higher layers, or in introduce mitigation in some or other form. So these are the things that need to be paid attention to, as probably as a user or as a developer, or as a third party supplier. It could be in any fashion, but the emphasis on the cybersecurity is paramount, and it has to be there. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank this August gathering for giving me an opportunity and inviting me here. So as we go by, I'll definitely have questions on the cybersecurity, and I want to thank you all once again. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Doctor.
Thank you, sir. And there are questions already, but we will just defer them for a while until all panelists speak at least once. And thank you for your views.
Thank you.
And yes, in fact, the security apparatus cannot be a retrofit on something. It has to be from the initial day one, and that's the good point. And so that's where we in BIS also there is a vertical dealing with the security aspects. And quickly, I preempt. There was a question on digital sky. Is it for commercial drones? Yes, that is true. And so we will actually elaborate on some of your questions further. And so may I now request Madam Anima Agarwal. She has been spearheading the software and data aspects and some auditing some of the content and such aspects in the standardization spree, and collaborating with various teams. And so may I request Madam Anima Agarwal. She's also having a initiative which is picked up by Indian Institute of Management Bangalore recently, and I think she is a blessed mom too. Her son went to US representing one innovative idea, which I think the where he has done a very beautiful thing. Probably she would start with that and then take us through. So, Madam Anima, all yours.
Thank you, sir. And thank you everyone who is attending this panel today, taking up time on your festival day to be with us on this evening. I was fortunate, in fact, my son was fortunate to have joined Junior Academy of Sciences, a course conducted by New York Academy of Sciences. And during this time, along with other 5 or 6 students across the world, they had developed a solution on genomics, and they won that contest, in which they had approximately 30 other international teams. So that was basically to identify the genetic disease when the child is born. So their idea they had planned, and they had put forward that idea there. And as far as for me, drones are considered, I feel AI and drones are match, which is I mean, made for each other, because it is that when they both meet in this heaven is what we can actually develop a real applications which can actually make a lot of difference in the society and in the mankind. There are several problems which can be solved when there is a marriage of AI with the drones. May it be different sectors like defense, agriculture, natural disaster, security, construction. Drones and AI can play an immense role anywhere. Earlier, drones were just able to capture the images, but now, due to the AI software, they're able to perceive the surroundings, and which enables them to map the areas, track objects, and provide analytical feedback in real time. And these have been effectively used in various industries. Recently, Andhra government has started the construction that when the buildings are constructed, usually it was like inspection by the inspector over there, and they used to then assess the condition of the buildings. But now this work has been taken over by drones, and I think AI is helping them out to understand what is the current stage of the building is. In various forests, they have identified AI. They have used AI along with drones, and they have identified poachers. They have identified various other aspects of the forests, which till now we were not able to capture the details and take care of them. So, and as Omkar sir had mentioned earlier, that all the deep learning softwares and solutions have the capability of bringing completely new dimension to the uses of role. I completely agree to that statement. There can be a lot of public safety impact, as mentioned by PVJ Harsha sir. And all this, when we take it up, I think drones have a long way to go, and they're going to change the history of mankind as we can see it. So from my side, I think AI and drones will play a huge role in the times, whether it's agriculture or it's public safety or security. AI will be of immense importance. So agriculture, I think there are a lot of companies who are working with agriculture and drones, and I think Nikki Kumar Jha sir, who was there earlier, and he is also one of them. And I think they are bound to change the future, the way we perceive the drone in agriculture industry in future. Probably it might happen that in future we not even go anywhere to spray the pesticide or even to assess the diseases or any of those things. All could be done, easily be done by drones. So drones are going to have immense future coming up for humankind. And with this, I think, sir, back to you.
Thank you very much. As you said, AI would play a vital role in enhancing the autonomous systems. That is true. So it is expected that explainable AI would be providing a lot of maturity to the decision support and the way we deal with the autonomous systems, so be it airborne or on the ground or underwater. And so in this context, we have one more panelist with us, and then we'll take up the question. So he represents the youth. He's currently undergoing engineering studies and already, to his credit, one patent, and then has written article that is published. And also recently, government grants came for his professor's project, wherein he is instrumental in driving the thought process to help the visually challenged with some kind of a pad which could give them the impression about the touching braille. So I think without much delay, I would request Vamsi. He's our team member of the BIS along with others in standardization efforts. Vamsi Varigonda.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to be one of the panel member in this discussion. So, as we have seen, all the panel members speak about the unmanned systems. I'd like to take upon the aspect of the traffic management in drones or the management of systems in general. So, just to give you a basic info, in India we have 484 operational airstrips, airports, and air schools combined. So, when there is a flight, the combination in which it can start and end is in the 484 itself. But when you come or when you think about an unmanned aerial system, there are no fixed locations in which it takes off and in which it lands. The whole demographic area of our country can be utilized for their operations, and it can start at any point and it can land or end their operation at any point. So, as you can understand, the complexity involved in the flight path planning and deconfliction and the overall management. So, as we have seen, the number of applications that were just listed by Anima ma'am, to have an operational drone or to make it possible, we need to have some management system up and running. So, for that, there are many industries involved for or many communication technologies involved for it to make it happen. So in the BIS, we are even making a standard for the traffic management systems. So I guess that will be giving a clear cut standard for any person who is working in the field to understand how to design their systems according to the traffic management. And uh, yes, sir. So other than that, uh, so when someone is designing their system, I think the end consumer should be taken in their design process. This is one design philosophy that everyone should understand when they are designing the system. And being from India, we should be designing systems for ourselves, because you cannot just import all the systems from outside and try to make it to work here. Our thought process and our design and our systems are required for to address our problems. So with this, I'll give it back to Kishore sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Vamsi. This is right, because one of the key challenges for the not just for our Indian regulators or policy makers, but the whole world is just like as matured as the civil aviation is. How to bring this new member into the mainstream, integrating with the main air traffic management portfolio to make it like an integrated air management system, so that the benefits of both vertical takeoff and the regular aviation system can be leveraged for the world at large, including like our smart cities and logistics supply chain, including these medical supplies like emergency medical supplies like blood or some life support organs, provided that the drone is very reliable, ultra reliable. In fact, in our standards, we want to make one in 1/10 of a billion instances only there can be any small aberration. So that should be the extent of reliability we need to achieve to be able to keep life on a mobility on par with the regular aircrafts. So not just about UAVs, but autonomous ground vehicles. A lot of innovations are taking place to support the agriculture industry as well. and also underwater vehicles, because a lot of life exists under the water, marine life, and so a lot of work is there to take the benefits of autonomy to the next step. So I have a few questions from the audience, and one of them is about just I will read out, just give me time. So Naresh Neelakantani, he wants to know right step of stepping up the absence of skilled team. Do you believe artificial intelligence also, because of smaller and compatible hardware, has helped us leapfrog around unmanned systems? That is one question. Maybe Anima ma'am, would you like to take up that question on AI? I would read out again. Do you believe AI has also for stepping up the absence of skilled team, because a smaller and compatible hardware has helped us leap around the unmanned systems?
So can you please repeat the question once again?
So because there is not much of skilled people around, so because of the absence of skilled team, do you believe AI also, because of smaller and compatible hardware, has helped us leaping around the unmanned systems?
So, apart from the skill system, I think it is the necessity which has actually helped us to build the applications of AI in drones. Because if you see in agriculture, there are a lot of people who are there working in the field. It is not because of lack of labor, but it's because of lack, which is actually needed. They are not able to do that work. It is not even that they are not skilled enough. It is because they are beyond their scope. It is beyond their scope to go around hectares and hectares in coffee in estates in Kerala's or other places. It's very difficult for them to manage the wild animals which come into these estates. So it is not only that. It is not only that the skilled forces are less. It is also because of the necessity. The places where AI can work, human cannot work. For example, simply if we have this drones who can monitor over the fire. Now we cannot have a human going there and monitoring. So it is both the necessity and the skilled aspect. But only less skilled aspect is not necessarily be there. So back to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So I would like to add one more question that the same person asked. How much secure by design is possible in the best processor? It should be within the chip as much as possible. So this is about, I think, Lieutenant Commander PVJ Harsha, sir. This is a question on the security and embedded, sir.
Yeah, sorry, we're just stopping the video to save some bandwidth. Now, regarding relegating the security to the processor. So, processor, see, as the word indicates, is processors what you give, what you do. The security in embedded systems more or less relies on something known as the root of trust. So, as of today, the most of the processes are in some or other way support the root of trust. So, to answer your question, the answer is yes and no as well. So the yes is the part for the fact that it supports a root of trust, and there is some design which has been integrated into the processor to actually provide to provide the features which will support the root of trust, right? And the answer no, because despite of having root of trust, still doesn't actually enable security, but the implementation of it properly and ensuring that it has been properly implemented is what the next step would be. So having a processor is like yes, you have all the things to have a security. Like you probably have a wall, but you've not built a gate, or you have bricks, but you've not built a wall, something like that. Like you have the wherewithal to actually implement security, but that does not mean that you have implemented security. So just processor is just an enabler, nothing beyond that. It more or less depends on the implementation, what the security that somebody has put into it. Hopefully, it has answered your question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lieutenant Commander PVJ Harsha. Again, back to Dr. Omkar. How do you see overall your next, guess, next by 2030, another 9 years? Where will India be in terms of uh, not just in terms of the drones, but also overall autonomous systems, taking into account of all the thoughts that every speaker has spoken, like in terms of the traffic aspects, security aspects, and embedded aspects, training aspects. And also, I welcome Colonel Ravi Reddy sir. He just joined, and after Omkar sir speaks, Colonel Ravi sir will speak. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, well, with regard to many other fields, you see, our country has very badly lost, for example, medical devices, and in fact, even some of the entertainment devices. We really lost the race. But in drones, fortunately, we are still in a better position, and now we should not lose out. This is a very crucial period for our country. Now we need to gear up both in terms of standardizing, giving it a good framework so that we are at par with anyone else in the world. And number two, yes, in terms of getting research funds, I think from the government, they should really pitch, and this funding should also be generously provided to not just the academic institutions but also a lot of private entrepreneurs. That's very essential. Well, there is always, the point of trust when it comes to giving funds. But I think, well, we have a lot of patriots, and I'm sure, especially our youth, will really gear up. And if we can, instead of setting some personal goals like I want to make this much money in this much time, if we set our goals in the framework of our national pride and making Atmanirbhar Bharat, I'm sure by in another decade we will be at a very, very big position where the world can look at us in terms of especially drones. And well, it will, once you pick up in one of the sectors, then that confidence building will automatically happen, because this make in India is a culture. It is not limited to one thing. It is a culture. Once it starts coming, I am sure things will really develop very well. It is just that culture has to come, and we should instill confidence as this culture can take us to greater heights. And once, yes, we reach that level, I'm sure personally also whoever is in the game will definitely get benefit, but that should be a secondary kind of motive. So this proper motive is very important, proper support is very important, especially in this time. If that is given, I think we have wonderful youth strength which can really do a lot of wonders. I'm sure it's going to happen. This is where I think some of the meetings like these things should keep happening, and these voices should be sent around. And I'm sure people will, once we are in the right path, uh, things will fall in place. And I personally am very, very hopeful that our country is going to play a very significant role both in science and technology. It's it's everybody should contribute towards that. The motive should be making India great.
Thank you, sir. As you said, yes, India started to do self-reliant deployment of technology into forces from Indian manufacturers. For example, Tejas LCA is being inducted for Indian Army, Indian Air Force, and
Good.
also the Indian manufacturer of UAVs like Idea Forge has obtained a contract to deliver a lot of drones to border security force, as well as in the wake of 2611 and other situation, they have built some solutions, and that's how Indian manufacturers came up. And so without much delay, so our Colonel Ravi,
So
he,
flight segment Kishore,
yes sir,
at 8:15 I will log out because I have something else.
sure, yes sir,
So I will listen to
right, sure. We will also
Colonel
keep it
Ravi.
in the YouTube, which would be available. Yes sir.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
very much.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
And Colonel Ravi spent all his professional career in Air Force as an officer, predominantly dealing with unmanned autonomous systems. And he also brings a similar enthusiasm like Lieutenant Commander PVJ Harsha in terms of our national interests first. In fact, we have been thinking about this day to open up ourselves about the Indian Organization for Unmanned Autonomous System, and he chairs our team, and I'm very happy to invite him to enlighten us with his thoughts this evening. Well,
Thank you, sir. Firstly, please accept my apologies, the whole team as well as the audience, for being late by almost an hour. Couldn't help it, got stuck in the traffic driving down from Bangalore to Hyderabad for the, Sankranti, and a very happy Sankranti to all of you. And thanks, Kishore sir, for your kind words and warm words. Like as Kishore sir has said, I've been involved with the UAV for the past 21 years and like to be pioneer of the UAV system, one of the pioneers of the UAV systems in India. I'm aware what the other speakers have said in terms of the IUAs, the Unmanned Autonomous Systems that we are, the organization that we have formed. Now, just at the cost of repetition, I would also like to say that, our organization and our motto is primarily to get the Indian unmanned autonomous system ecosystem getting to the great heights that the opportunity is now ripe. When I say this, it is we are not competing with anyone, but we are trying to add on to the good work already done by many others, plus also stand out in terms of supporting the ecosystem, the startups, mentoring them, and we are not looking at profits or to make money or anything. We have, learned and esteemed guides like Dr. Omkar, also amongst us, apart from many others. Sorry, I'm not taking each one's name, it would be a long list. But primarily so of Dr. Omkar because he's one of the most learned guys I've ever met, and a lot to learn from him. Now, when we started this, we did have, as any organization would have, teaching things as to what we would be doing, how would we be going about it. Our motto is as simple and straight as that. We are not looking at any kind of profit making or to have lot money these things to become commercial or no, not at all. Our only motto is to make the unmanned systems as a whole, be it air, ground, water, whatever. Okay, the unmanned systems as such, self-reliant, the organizations, the companies, the students, we should be like an anchor for everyone to, take benefit out of and be a harbinger of the progress of unmanned system in India. We're not concentrating on drones or any particular thing. We don't have any favorites. We just want to be selfless for India being self-reliant on unmanned systems. And God knows, if God willing, we could expand further to get our technology out. But we want to be the best in the world and support that cause. And Anima ma'am and Kishore sir and the others, the youngsters like Vamsi and Nilesh and all these guys, Nitish have gotten good amount of josh from the youngsters and the expertise from Kishore sir, Omkar, Harsha, and Anima and others. So with this, I wouldn't stretch it far, but I'm open to any discussion or the questions that would accrue out of it. Though I've not been part of the discussion so far, but it's an honor to be part of the team and also to be able to serve in whatever little manner our knowledge would help us, or we would learn from the others to develop this particular organization to be a niche organization for the unmanned systems in India. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.
thank you very much, sir. I think There is one question in general about 3D printing and its role that it could play in making of these systems. So, quick thoughts on that 3D print.
So while 3D printing is the in thing and a fad among most of the peoples, but I also am for 3D printing, provided we have our basics right. Most of the people are jumping the bandwagon of 3D printing and using it as a loose term, but I see a very huge technological advancement in terms of 3D printing and its utility in the unmanned systems. Not in particular about drones or the ground vehicles, but also underwater vehicles. And we have recently read in the news that 3D printing, they have used it across not only the autonomous system but in the commercial stage as well. 3D printing, once the drawings are correct and if the expertise is right, it does get down the cost. It does get down much of your size that is required for many things, the weight and other things. 3D printing is the in thing, and we will be adopting it very soon in our organization also when we advocate or encourage our startups or the members to do it. I'm very sure it is going to, get very good in future with advanced technology coming in into 3D printing than what is available right now. Because there are some lacunas or limitations of 3D printing as of today, but we are soon going to, come through it and get into much more better ways of 3D printing the body. For example, if we take the case of drones, your electronics could be printed within this and it could form the fuselage. So you're reducing the electronics of the PCB. The PCB is within the fuselage. Things like this. Your communication is within the fuselage. So you could do that. There are people who are trying to do this, but right now they are successful to a limited extent, but not to the extent that they desire themselves. But yes, we'll get there soon in a year or two.
Thank you, sir. And um, yeah, are there any more questions? Yeah, so shall we have a logo launch event? If anybody has any more questions from the audience or any panelists themselves want to ask other fellow from panelists, because in general, the messages that I can quickly summarize is Dr. Omkar said that India should be self-reliant and autonomous systems efforts, we should not lose the traction as traditionally had been. We are more of a services company than manufacturing, but now for drones and other autonomous systems, we should not be lagging behind because we have amongst us the intellectual caliber like IISc, IITs, and good industries and the willpower amongst us, and then we should be able to take on this mandate of Atmanirbhar Bharat and make in India and going vocal about being local. So, with these thoughts and the questions around digital sky, we just wait for a few weeks. The regulations around implementing digital sky. We have wonderful Joint Secretary Amber Dubey sir, and he is very open and is very friendly to youth and all your ideas. If you have any idea, he is open to discuss. And so we are lucky to have such leaders in the bureaucracy to help in this very interesting field. In fact, he helped in shaping the Garud, and then used during the locust attacks of India. Drone industry has played a significant role in containing the damage. Like 8,000 times more flow than any other year India has witnessed during this COVID-19. Apart from COVID-19, locusts were attacking so many western regions of our agricultural land, and drones helped apart from COVID warrior tag Garud. And so these are some things that quickly we can relate to for future, for supply chain, and also God willing, India will be one of the pioneers in even supporting the unmanned autonomous manned vehicles without pilot. So that may be by 20 years from now, but the technology has to start now for doing so much of growth in future. So we should have a lot of ambition. while keeping our feet on the ground, we should try to touch the sky with glory. So that's where we need to do justice to our waters, our land, and the sky, and not just dominated by one field. So, if other fellow panelists have any other thoughts randomly, please feel free, and then we will have one more invocation song because we have a gifted child waiting, and then we will have a Thanksgiving talk, and then one of our team members wants to launch a logo. We will see that also.
So, just an unconventional thought here for all the people in the audience or who will see it later on. The starting companies in the industry have the responsibility to grow that industry because they are the ones who show the market that there is a viability in usage of that product. So, given that freedom, I think they should take it as a responsibility on their shoulders and move it forward. So it will be a hard process for the, like, it is like you support the industry, later the industry will support you. So I think they should pursue this goal. And for any youth or youngsters who will be watching this, my message is to do open source projects, because there are many companies and Linux is the best example that you can take out of open source projects. I guess even for the unmanned UTM systems, open sourcing the whole code, just like what Arogya Setu has done, so we can know the security of it, and you can also contribute. So I guess for UTM as well, as it is going to be completely autonomous, I don't think there we'll have many operators just like ATM sitting for our UTM. We'll have complete systems which are software oriented, which has artificial intelligence, machine learning, or some kind of additional intelligence on the existing software to handle that kind of a data. So I think people should come forward, open source it, and move along. So many people think that open sourcing is like killing their idea. It is not, because even right now, sir, yes, sir. So even right now, as you can see, Linux has been open source for more than 30 years, and even people from Google support Linux. So I think that kind of an environment should be developed here. And regarding the failure, if a company fails, I think it should be celebrated rather than being sad about it, because that shows that there is a growth in that industry and we are moving forward. That is what happens in Silicon Valley. I think that is something that we are missing here right now. But the more we support growth in the industry, the more we support people coming out, I think the faster the growth of the industry will be. Yes, sir.
I just want to put one point forward for whatever, add to whatever Vamsi has said, that till now India has not been international leaders in many of the industries, but the Atmanirbhar Bharat or the drones that we build should not only suffice to Indian industry, they should also suffice to the world market. So we should not look only India as a market, we should look world as the whole market and start looking out opportunities away from India as well. It's very important. And Zipline, one of the very pioneer companies in transporting blood in African countries, has its origin in US. And now it's coming to India as well. So Zipline case is a very interesting example, and we should start using the world as a market and stop seeing only India as a market.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. And for the sake of completion, let me say that we are here to help any student body wants to take advantage of Linux Edge OS. We have direct contact with the Linux Foundation top leadership, and they are willing to help worldwide universities, especially at no cost. And also there is an Open Networking Foundation. They are also eager to help, though both of them are competitors to each other, but they both have the social approach. They both want to help you. So you take advantages of both Linux operating system as well as Open Networking Foundation. Both are very matured, and so we don't need to have a biased approach here. Also, we are open to help you as a launch pad. We can help you if a student's team has formed like a small company. You will get production quality license keys free of cost, which you would have to spend otherwise as a company around 67 lakhs. You will get absolutely free, but your need to be genuine and you need to write to us about what you intend to do, and we will help you to get those license keys with which your research can go forward. So these are some of the best things that we wish to put forward on this auspicious day. And if there are no other panelist thoughts, I'm asked to present a logo, and allow me to take some time to pull out from our ongoing WhatsApp. There is a logo for us. Hope you are able to, yeah, you are able to see this logo. Can I present the logo?
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, sir. We can't
Yeah,
see what
I
it
will be
is.
the presenter, so let's test. Okay, so we are very happy to take this opportunity to present our new logo of Indian Organization for Unmanned Autonomous Systems. And this is a collective thought process of almost an year amongst 14 of us. And then I just read out the mission statement on behalf of our chair. That is to deploy cutting edge technology to continuously innovate to serve Indian unmanned systems market needs and develop the ecosystem, partner with the technology innovation and manufacturing firms to speed up the scalability, set new benchmarks for unmanned autonomous systems in the country. So this is our mission. And so if the, I would stop showing. And if the singer of the invocation song is still with us, can the parent of the child speak? Then we will allow her to sing towards the end of the session before Thanksgiving. Uh, um, uh, is Shweta there? Shweta? Yeah. Yeah, Shweta, can you
Yeah,
kindly propose a vote of thanks for this event?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to wish everyone a happy Sankranti and what a auspicious day to launch the logo and have our first session. Thanks, everyone. I would like to thank all the speakers for giving us such a great insight in all the areas of drones. Even as in Sir mentioned, saying we won't only focus on UAVs. It's with respect to UGVs and even underwater vehicles as well, right? So what we are doing is it's spanning across all three areas. We have brought in some insights and details about government and especially speaking Atmanirbhar Bharat related concept where everybody is motivated and it makes everyone enthusiast to get into the areas where they are start manufacturing, because earlier most of the times they used to just think, is it possible from us? But then this Atmanirbhar Bharat has just opened up a wide kind of a Pandora box, right? Every intelligent or talented person likes to get into manufacturing, and the areas unexplored. Now the speakers who have brought in such a wide range of detailed discussions regarding academia, and they've also spoke about startup and also market reach, right? So this is something which will inspire the youngsters to get into UAV sector. So I would like to thank all the speakers once again, and also thanks for the participant on this day, on a festival day, for joining us and listening to us patiently. So hopefully all the insight have served the expectations of all yours. And you could reach out to us basically if in case you have a lot of questions, or in case you have some queries you want to ask about the licensing, because Kishore sir just mentioned about licensing, right? So in case you have these questions, I think there is one the chat, there is a mail ID being posted up. Maybe I can read it out. It is info@i-uas.org. You can reach out to us with any other queries, or if you are interested in spite with your detailed description with a two-pager detail, you can reach out to us. So yeah, thanks a lot once again. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah, I think it's my duty to actually thank Shweta. Shweta actually is an example of STEM power. I mean, she has been excellent engineer and in a multinational, and she's trying to help in the cause of India's agriculture and healthcare sectors. So she stepped out of a mid-level managerial role in a big multinational company, and then we wish to take this opportunity to wish her all success and for the noble gesture, and such leaders we need to take the youth to the next level and show by example. This really reminds me four young lady pilots took a plane from San Francisco over the top of North Pole and then landed in Bangalore in 17 hours. I think Shweta is one such example, taking the leadership in agricultural innovation, because all along agriculture has been kind of a boring subject. Engineers think that that is something what farmers do, but you could in future be somebody like I'm an engineer of agriculture, and the University of Agricultural Sciences, they are working with her and communicating. And Dr. Omkar and we conducted already one event on panel on agricultural UAVs, and there is also in insurance the discussions going on. And in fact, a lot of other subjects which we could have highlighted today, we did not do, such as expanding on our mission statement into what are our visions and what we wish to do. Maybe we will take another occasion to meet you all. As Shweta mentioned, info@i-uas.org is the easiest website you can reach out to. I want to tell you that not just India, worldwide there are similar organizations, and in fact I got inspired from c-uas.org. That is a consortium approach, and that is what Americans are doing it. So we are not just like a Newton inventing gravity principle here. So I wish with our initiative you will all get opportunities to have expression of what you wish to do, and we want to keep the opportunities for everyone to play and have a win-win scenario. And maybe Vamsi, if you have something about youth to say, it's all about youth. Youth is most precious resource of the nation. So if you want to say some other words.
No, sir.
So may
Okay,
I
if
request?
I may just add to what Kishore sir said, and firstly, thank you for such a kind word. Just for youth, right? So there's a lot of question or confusion or even hesitation to get into entrepreneurship. So I would like to tell them, do not think much. Shed the fear what you have. There's a lot of things wherein what do we say? It's like a get starting period, right? At the very first stage, how do that's the stage where you feel hesitant, or you might think whether it's possible from my side, or do I fail, because there's a lot of hesitation to get into entrepreneurship. But I must say it is not so, because now the area is widened up. Technology has been scaled to a level where we can just uh, it's like open universe, right? You can just step into any technology. There's a lot of opportunity available, and I'm sure the youth, at least in India, are very talented. And we can see every time what we call as jugad, right? Jugad is nothing but an innovation by end of it. So please don't hesitate to get into any kind of an new field or new technology or even entrepreneur. But we would like lots and lots of youths to join the areas of manufacturing, because when you do there's a lot of scope for export also. Like Anima ma'am said some time back, we can see world as a market area, and focusing world as a market, we can work on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Anima, and
Very well
thanks,
said, ma'am. If you
Nitish.
permit, I'll
Go
just
ahead.
like to add on to a little bit. Very well brought out. I would like to add on, like, anyone from the industry or the youngsters or the students who would like to, start their entrepreneurial journey, or they have an idea on how to go. We are ready to mentor you all. Okay. And we are not looking for anything but except for mentoring you and helping you in setting up your entrepreneurial venture, getting your ideas to the board, getting it up, scale it up, and getting your foothold. Now, there's a lot of times that people are very skeptical. Oh, I've got a niche idea. What if I share it with someone, and will they copy it? Or will they take away my idea and dump me later on, and then steal my idea and the IP rights and all? Rest be assured, at IUS, while we mentor you, while we guide you through all the process, like Kishore said, and Anima ma'am and Shweta ma'am has just brought out, we would do everything to keep it as confidential as possible, and absolutely strictly, the IP rights would be yours. It will never be disclosed to anyone unless, of course, you want it to be disclosed in any forum or whatever. But your idea will be your idea. So please do not hesitate in terms of contacting us for any help with any kind of idea in any sector. We are open to totally help you and mentor you to make you successful in your business venture or entrepreneurial venture. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those words, Colonel Ravi sir. And thank you, Nitish, for bringing this info at the i-us.org. And if there are no more points to discuss, if there are no more questions, could we all and Nikki Kumar Jha, if you are there, can we play national anthem? If you are just on the system, can you play that audio? Okay, we will just conclude by saying a Jai Hind. Thank you, everybody.
Jai Hind, everyone.
Jai Hind. Punarmilamaha.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Dhanyavadaha. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you.
Shubhamastu. Thank you.